Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought today we'd get a little bit into the lower body because who doesn't love a good hip stretch? And also a little bit into the upper back. So I don't know about you, but I've been sleeping kind of weird lately. And I want to release the tension in the rhomboids and the upper trapezius. If you have a strap today, it could be quite useful to use. If you don't have a strap, you could get a belt or a piece of rope or something like that. And if you don't have any of those things or you don't want to use it, you don't have to. I will give you options that don't involve these things. Sound good? All right, so let's start lying down because it's the most lovely place to start yoga, I think. And you might just decide to lie flat, or you could have your knees bent, or you could take a butterfly position. I like taking just a little wrap of my shoulder blades onto the back, just so the heart can lift up and I can release tension through my chest and the fronts of the shoulders. And then maybe for a couple breaths, you inhale through the nose and exhale. Sigh your breath away. Two more. It doesn't have to be super deep, but just sighing the tension away. And then continue breathing however you need to. I read an article a couple years ago about that sighing breath. And researchers found that audible sigh, the really sort of dramatic sigh, can trick your brain into flushing the stress hormone cortisol out of your system. So it tries to get rid of it, tries to balance the stress levels in the body. So it's kind of a cool hack for your system if you're feeling really stressed or tight or whatever. A couple of those really dramatic sighing exhales, you can kind of trick your body into relaxing a little bit more. Last couple breaths here. You can always pause the video and stay here, for like half an hour if you want to just have a little rest. Otherwise, let's deepen the breath and start to bring a lot of movement back to the body, wiggle or shake, whatever you need to do to wake up. And then draw your knees toward you, little rock from side to side. Your knees might be really close, you might have them further away. And that can massage sort of the base of the pelvis rather than the top of it. So whatever you need here, you could draw circles with your legs in the hip sockets, whether they're going in the same direction or you're doing kind of crazy egg beater legs. And then reach the legs up to the sky. Knees can be bent, right? They don't have to be super straight. And in fact, I'd prefer if they're not super engaged or extended. And then you could start to point and flex the toes. I've already reached my arms up to the sky, so you can do that too if you want to. But make sure you're not like really reaching. Let the shoulder blades drop back to the floor. So you can almost feel the humerus kind of sinking back into the shoulder socket. Same thing with the wrists, the ankles. You might even shake everything out, and it can feel kind of delightful. Also a bit peculiar. And then come back to knees to chest. Bring your feet to the floor. Take the mat width apart, or even a little bit wider if you'd like to. Arms can go out to the side. Take a little windshield wiper of the knees from one side to the other. The next time your legs or your knees are over to the left, pause there. So this can be just a nice release, very gentle rotation through the spine. You're getting probably more sensation through that right hip. So you might stay here. Some of you might choose to cross the left ankle over top of the right thigh. And you could just allow that weight, that extra sort of gravity to do its thing. Or you might squeeze the bum on the right side to lift the hip up, getting kind of a more active release here. I like reaching my right arm back and up to the right and even looking along it. And then gently unhook the ankle if it's over top, and then a little release, a little windshield wiper, and then send both knees over to the right. Again, you might extend that left arm back into the left. Some of you might choose to hook the right ankle over top of the thigh, and you could just hang out here. Right? Just because you did one variation on one side doesn't mean you have to do the same variation on the other side. Maybe you stay passive. Maybe you squeeze the bum on the left side and get a little bit lift, getting a little bit more through the front of the hip, even kind of the side anterior, so not all the way around to the back. And gently uncross the leg if it's crossed. Come back to center. Okay, now if you have a strap and you're going to use it today, then go ahead and grab it. If you're not using a strap, don't worry about it. So left foot stays to the floor, and then hook the balls of your right foot into the strap. So you don't want it on the arch of the foot, you want it on the balls of the foot. And it's not that it's dangerous or whatever, it just helps get you a calf stretch as well while you're here. So knee can start quite bent if you wish, and it can stay quite bent. Rather than having my hands down low and really having to use my arm strength here, I like reaching my arms about as far up as they can go so that I can just use the weight of my arms to start to get in to that right leg. Now, from here, you might choose to straighten the back of the knee a little bit, or maybe you start to draw the foot toward you. Now, if you don't have a strap, you can always interlace your hands behind the thigh or the calf. Some of you, I know, might do some sort of bind on the toes or the sole of the foot, wherever you need to go. And if you want to deepen it even more, you might have to back out of the right leg a little bit. To do this, you could extend the left leg on the floor. I'm going to keep mine bent today because it just feels better for me to do this instead. Maybe I'll do a different variation on the left side. Who knows? So last couple breaths here. Really pull, well, not like but keep those toes coming back toward your face so that you're getting that release through the calf muscles as well as through the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay, now if you're using a strap, bring both straps or both parts of it into the right hand. Left hand goes out to the side. Again, your knee can be bent, does not need to be straight. Take the leg out to the right. I'm going to end up kicking over my bookcase. So if the left knee is bent, you can let the left knee go out to the side. So you're kind of getting a little bit of both legs at the same time. If you don't have a strap, you can just support your right leg with your right hand. Now, if your right elbow happens to reach the floor, you can start to pull on the strap to draw the right toes up to the back right corner of your mat a little bit more. All right, so as gentle or as deep as you need. And then slowly start to come back to center without kicking your whole bookshelf over. And then bring both straps now into the left hand, or if you're not using it, don't worry about it. Take your right thumb, hook it into the hip crease on that right side so that you can think of drawing your right hip forward and down, and then draw the right leg over to the left slightly. So you're really only just crossing the center line with that right leg till you start to feel tension on the outer right thigh. Right, you can see I'm not all the way over in the twist. If you would like to take the twist instead, you're welcome to do that. But here I'm getting into TFL, into the muscles that attach to the IT band. I'm sort of taking my left knee across the center line. If your left leg is extended, then that's fine too. Keep wrapping that right hip down and to the top or the bottom edge of your mat, I guess it is. And then slowly come back to center. Last couple breaths with that leg in center. Maybe you draw the leg a little bit closer toward you, maybe not, knee bent or straight, doesn't matter. It's your body, you know it better than I do. And then slowly release the strap. We're going to keep working that right leg though. So now cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. And this feels quite good for me because I just did a bunch of glute work. You could stay here if you wish. You could bring a block underneath the left leg to deepen it. You might draw the legs toward you. Here is a really nice place to use the strap. Again, if you have it behind the left thigh, particularly if interlacing the fingers behind that left thigh is not comfortable for whatever reason. You could rock a little bit from side to side. You could play with pressing that right thigh away from you. Make sure you're not pressing right on the knee joint, but on the thigh. I like, rocking a little bit side to side just to feel, whoo, if it will stretch the muscles in a different position. It will target a different part of it. So wherever feels most interesting, last couple breaths there. And then slowly come back to center, unwind your legs, shake it all out. And then a couple of breaths just to pause. Knees bent or straight. Just notice whatever you notice, particularly if you notice any differences from one side of the body to the other. And then open your eyes again and let's switch to the opposite side. So again, if you're using a strap, then bring it onto the balls of the left foot as you extend the left leg up to the sky. Right, knee can be bent, and in fact, I suggest you start with a bent knee rather than going straight away into the sort of full knee extension. Right leg could stay straight or bent, or you could extend it along the floor. Don't have to do the same thing from one side that you did to the other. And then little draw of the toes back toward your face a little bit more, just so you feel it in the calf muscles too, because why not? Right? The more we can release with one pose, it saves time. Okay, bring both of your straps, if you're using the strap, into the left hand, and then slowly take the left leg out to the side. Now again, if you're not using a strap, you can just rest your leg on your hand. Knee could be bent, knee could be straight. If the elbow reaches the floor, then maybe you start to haul your leg up to the left corner. That right knee, if the knee is bent, can sort of wing out to the side as well. And then try to release any gripping or tension. Last breath here. And slowly come back to center. Bring both straps now into the right hand. If you're not using your strap, right, you can have your hand on your calf or your thigh, whatever works. Take your left thumb, hook it into the hip crease on that left side, so you can really sort of think of pulling that hip joint down into the foot edge of your mat, and then take your left leg across the center line. So that left hip doesn't want to lift up too much because you kind of lose the tension there, or at least the intended tension. If you want to do the full twist, then feel free to. I'm really feeling it through glute max, TFL, and then also residual tension along the IT band. Now the IT band is like a big, thick band of fascia, so you cannot stretch it. But you can release the muscles that attach to it, right? And that will help feel like you're losing tension there. Last couple breaths. And then slowly come back to center. Last couple breaths in the middle. Maybe you draw the foot closer toward you. Maybe you think of straightening the leg a little bit more. Right, wherever you need. Through that left side. And then slowly release the strap, ditch it off to the side, and then take that left ankle across the right thigh. And so you might stay here for your figure four stretch. You might draw the legs toward you using your core. You could use the strap. I know I said to ditch it, but you can bring it behind the right thigh. You could rock a little bit from side to side. Maybe you interlace your hands behind the right thigh. So a few breaths wherever you need to be here. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And then slowly release everything. Shake it all out. A little windshield wiper of the knees. That's a lot of time on the back. Hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you rock and roll up and down your spine. You go shoulder blades to sit bones. Maybe you just roll to one side and press yourself up to hands and knees. Now you're probably wondering, why do we always do cat and cow in your classes? Well, I think it's probably one of the most valuable things that you can do. If you can only do one physical posture and yoga per day or per week even, this is the one I would pick because it really lets you find lots of movement through your spine. I hope you're moving with me while I talk here. You into cat and cow. So you're finding movement through the spine. You get released through the shoulders. You get released through the hips. And then slowly come back to center, a little draw of belly button to spine. And then I want you to think of coming into cat. So press the floor away from you and then send your hips back toward your heels a little bit more. So you're probably feeling it now in your low back. Getting a big release. Keep pressing the floor away from you. And then bend your elbows. Bring your nose or your chin toward your mat. They might not touch. And then press yourself back into cow. So we're going to start to make these big circles through the spine, rounding through cat, send the hips back toward the heels. And then sort of slither forward into cow. Couple more. And then come back to center. Little wiggle or shake out. Bring your left hand in front of your right hand and then send your hips back. So now we're getting a little bit more into the upper back. Right? You might feel it here. You might need to come down a little bit lower depending on if your lats are tight or if it's more the muscles through the upper back. Mostly you're not going to feel in between the shoulder blades here. It's going to be more lateral or distal, I suppose, rather than medial. And then slowly come back to center. We'll switch sides, right or left hand. I don't know, just switch sides. Hips back. Right, and on one side you might go all the way down. On the other side it might feel better to stay up. So listen to your body more than you listen to me. And slowly come back to center. Little wiggle or shake. And then step to the top edge of your mat. Standing forward fold. This also helps release into the hips. And then slowly start to roll up to standing. Little loop of the shoulders up, back, and down. And then shake it out. So let's really get into the upper back. You don't have to be standing. You could do this seated if you wish, but I feel like I get a little bit more torque, tension, if I have the full range of movement. So inhale the arms wide, and then sweep your right arm underneath the left. You can grab the back of the shoulders if you wish. You might start to fold the forearms together, or you might do the full eagle bind on the arms. And then lift the elbows. Couple breaths here. And then think of pulling your elbows forward as you round through the upper back. So bend the knees, tuck the tailbone under. You might stay here. If you have tension lower down, then you could fold even a little bit more, rounding wherever you need to. But really keep pulling your elbows away from you. And then inhale. Ooh, come all the way back up. Shake it out. And then we're going to do it right away to the opposite side. There's a very subtle difference from one side to the other, but you want to make sure that you're balanced. So sweep the left arm under the right. Again, you might stay here with hands on shoulders. You might start to take a bind and then lift the elbows just to start with, and then bend the knees, tuck the tailbone under, and pull your elbows forward. So it doesn't really matter whether you've got eagle bind or not. Maybe you round forward a little bit more. We're just doing this to get into the back. We're not going to do any balancing. And inhale, come all the way back up. Release the tension, shake it out, and come on down to the floor again. That's enough standing. We're like 2 minutes. Good. um, tuck your right leg in, just getting it out of the way, and then bend your left knee. Take your right hand to the outside edge of your left foot, and then left fingertips can go out to the side. Here, what I want you to do is puff through the back. So really round through the spine. I'll show you from the side, just so you can see what it looks like. It's harder to see face on. And then right away here, you might be feeling quite a bit of release across the shoulder blade. The more you start to send the heel forward, the more you're going to get deeper into the mid and low back. Now you can press those left fingertips or the left palm of the hand away from you to get even more puffing through the right side of the body. Tuck your chin under. Some of you might be all the way out in the hamstring stretch, wherever you need to be. And then as slowly as you came into it, start to unwind, shake it out a little bit, and then we'll switch sides. So tuck the left shin under, like just to get it out of the way, right? Bend the right knee, right fingertips outside. Take the left hand to the outside edge of that right foot, and then puff through the spine. Tuck the chin under. Again, this might be where you want to stay. This feels fantastic for me. It's targeting right that little spot where I kind of slept weird last night. Maybe you slide the heel away from you. You can press the right hands away from you. Hands, right fingertips. So you can really puff a little bit more into the left side of the body. So stay up as much as you want. Slide down as far as you would like to. And then last breath here. Oh, slowly. Oh, release, little shake out. Let's go back down to the floor. It's too much time not on our backs. Hug your knees into your chest. We'll rock from side to side. And then the last thing we're going to end with is a twist. So take your right arm out to the side, shift your hips right, maybe, and then lower your knees to the left. So you can take that 2-knee twist. You could take a single leg twist. You might cross your legs. You might go back to that first one we started with the feet wide. Wherever you are, try to find some ease here. So whether that's even just letting the feet relax to the floor, or bringing a block underneath your knees or between them. Last few breaths. And slowly come back to center. And then change sides. Left arm out to the side. Legs or knees to the right. Again, as gentle or as deep as you need. And then slowly come back to center. If there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, it could be happy baby, it could be some sort of spinal flexion or extension. Feel free to go where you need to go. Otherwise, find your pose of rest, whether that's flat on your back, legs bent or straight. You could rest on your side in a seated meditation, in child's pose, legs up the wall, wherever you need to go. And there's no rush to find the pose of rest, but once you're there, for a few breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, dramatic sigh of the breath away. 2 more. And let go of your breath control. Let go of any last muscle gripping or tension, particularly in your face or your jaw. Allow your body to settle a little bit more. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.